A 2020 FBI report shows that there were over 7,000 hate crimes each year in the last 3 years. I'm Gillian Wanosky, and straight ahead, I'll tell you what the religious community wants to change. I'm Gillian Wanosky, and coming up next, I'll introduce you to one Morgantown resident who changed his future by typing into the past. Our Emmy Award-winning WVU News continues in a moment. I'm Gillian Wanosky, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll introduce you to one of the residents in the homes you see behind me on River Road, a road that's been closed 3 times in the last decade. We often take our food for granted, but nearly 23% of households in the U.S. didn't know where their next meal was coming from in 2020. Could stricter gun control laws really limit the number of mass shootings we see on the religious community? A 2019 study found that fatalities were 70% less likely to occur when the federal ban on assault weapons was in effect from 1994 to 2004. Poor conditions on River Road are not only a problem for those who use it. When the road is closed, traffic is pushed back onto DuPont Road, which can up to triple the drive time for those looking to get through Westover. This machine was the first visible print typewriter, which means the typist could actually see the text while it was being entered. After less than 2 years of being reopened, River Road in Westover was closed once again due to rock slide damage. The road has faced over 20 slides since 2018, and Lexi Regules says she worries about her family's safety after just missing this recent slide.
I had just drove on the road and came back, and as I was coming back, the road had been closed, and I guess the slide happened as I had just left and everything, so that has been really scary to think about.
The road was closed for over a year after a 2018 slide left the lower portion of the road unusable. Over $2 million went into repairing the road, but Mon County Emergency Management Director James Smith says the road still needs serious repair if it's to maintain the traffic of the area.
The hillside where the slides come down from, that seems to be a much larger issue, to where it's going to take some clearing of the trees and some of the debris on top of the hill.
Dawn Lanham has been sending her children to Skyview Elementary for nearly 15 years, and she said that the road's inconsistencies worry her.
There is a lot of traffic in and out of there, especially with the industrial park. Out there, it does take a lot of big trucks in and out, and the road is starting to cave away on the shoulders of that road, which is now the only road that can go in and out to that area.
Safety officials have said previously that this road was not designed for heavy traffic, and residents believe that this could be a factor in the road's condition. Poor conditions on River Road are not only a problem for those who use it. When the road is closed, traffic is pushed back onto DuPont Road, which can up to triple the drive time for those looking to get through Westover. Rerouting traffic has also contributed to the city's accident percentage. Over the last 45 years, Westover had almost twice as many fatal traffic incidents per 100,000 people than West Virginia's average. With a clack and a ding, one Morgantown resident found his lifelong passion. Jet Morton began collecting typewriters after finding his very first one at a yard sale when he was just 7 years old.
I was a computer kid. I used to game on computers, and so I saw the keyboard, and my dad showed me it's a typewriter. You don't have a monitor. You just type right against the platen. You put your paper in, and that's how you type. And so I was intrigued, and my dad bought the machine for me.
Morton sought out to get as many Oliver typewriters as possible. Currently, the number is up to 54, and likely one of the largest collections in the world. This machine was the first visible print typewriter, which means the typist could actually see the text while it was being entered. His favorite machine is a 130-year-old Woodstock Oliver typewriter, as it's the only known version of this machine in existence. You may be wondering, how does he get these rare machines? He said his yard sale days are behind him, and he turns to the internet for more unique finds.
It has to be online because in town you won't find these rare machines that I do.
This hobby became less of a pastime in recent years as Morton began to make a name for himself in the typewriting community. He had a cameo in the 2016 documentary California Typewriter, which starred fellow collector Tom Hanks. Morton even has a book on typewriters titled The Oliver Typewriter Company, Machines in History, which he wrote at just 15 years old.
It has also allowed me to connect with many people all over the world and form friendships over a common bond of typewriters, something that many people don't typically bond over. And it's a really great experience to get to learn and meet all of the faces and hear the names of the collectors that have been around over the years, the new collectors and the old collectors. And especially as machines continue to trade hands, it almost gives a rebirth to the collecting community.
He said he hopes to continue collecting specifically Olivers in order to own one of every model, and he's getting closer every day. Religious hate crimes have seen a nearly 35% surge in recent years, with one hitting close to home. The 2018 shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh killed 11 people, and Morgantown resident Joe Spiro watched his friend lose an uncle in the shooting.
We're such a hardworking group of people, I want to say, and I think that I'm so prideful to be Jewish that it just really hurts when you see people being openly and violently anti-Semitic.
Recent U.S. shootings are prompting national leaders to crack down on gun control so that the lack of laws doesn't stand in the way of protecting vulnerable communities. These tragedies have also made the religious community cautious under all circumstances. Charleston resident Sarah Zanobly said that even the security training at her local mosque left her feeling uneasy about the possibilities.
At the mosque in Charleston, West Virginia, which is where I'm from, they did an active shooter training. And even the police was talking about how the police, with all of the training that they have, they're still probably not able to disarm or, disarm a shooter or get him away from people. So it's really up to us to know what to do in those situations, taking a chair and closing the door and getting away from places and, learning the exits.
AR-15 rifles were used in 26% of the last 80 mass shootings. And both the shooting in Sutherland Springs and the shooting in Pittsburgh were committed with semi-automatic assault rifles. The United Methodist Church released a resolution to advocate for the banning of large-capacity ammunition weapons, among other gun control advocacy points. Suncrest United Methodist pastor Matt Johnson says it's time for change.
Because of the proliferation of gun violence and our inability to put common sense gun control into practice, there's people who are living in fear everywhere. And that's such a hard thing. And so, church is obviously part of it, but a large part of it too is just how are we willing to be as a society? Are we willing to continue to accept this as the reality of the status quo and just kind of shrug and say, I wish there was something we could do, when there would be?
Could stricter gun control laws really limit the number of mass shootings we see on the religious community? A 2019 study found that fatalities were 70% less likely to occur when the federal ban on assault weapons was in effect from 1994 to 2004. In recent years, the FBI reported that religious bias was the second largest motivating factor in committing hate crimes, second only to race. I joined WVU officials during the relocation of the RAC student food pantry to see how the university is combating food insecurity right here on campus. The Bureau of Justice Statistics reports that only 55% of hate crimes were reported over the past 2 years. Thanks, Claire. Anyone looking to travel in the coming months may want to look into something many of us have passed over before: travel insurance. I'm Gillian Wanosky. You can visit us online at our website, and you can also watch all of our shows on YouTube. Please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.